Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Happy New Year! It's another year!
Woo-hoo!
Yay!
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings. I want to say greetings.
This is I'm Right.
I'm Right.
And I'm Jill Cox Cordova.
I'm Anthony Cordova.
And we're back.
We're back. It's
for another season,
year.
another
Wow.
year.
Number
Four.
Number four.
Four.
Who knew?
I certainly didn't.
I never thought we'd be making the millions we are now from our podcast.
One
millions.
day. Yes.
We're just rolling in dough.
Cookie dough?
No, not cookie dough. Gee.
Well, I think we should get started with this week's episode.
Yeah.
And this week's episode, and Tony, this is perfect for you.
That was my idea.
We're calling it Times I, as in Tony, may have drunk too much. It's part of a segment that we call
Stand by your stance.
You're already making faces.
Yeah, Jill, it doesn't just refer to me. It refers to you also. Times that you, Jill, may have drank too much.
Okay, you and I, but this episode is mostly you. Mostly your stories.
If you say so.
Oh, I definitely say so.
Who wants to start?
I think you should, because you have more stories.
Okay. Well, this is how I'll lead into it. Listeners, as you know, what was it? Last episode where we discussed the first time my brother and I had a sip of wine.
You may have mentioned it.
Yeah, what? That was last episode or before that? It doesn't matter. But that made me think about it. Think about times
you may have
drunk too much.
Okay.
So
did you this year? Many people do it on New Year's Eve. I don't think you did this year.
No, I'm kind of a lightweight now.
But you thought you'd never say that.
I had a martini and a half to celebrate the new year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what story do you have?
Well, I figure, like I said, I started before with, my mother giving my brother and I a little bit of wine and putting cherries under her toes and feet.
Right.
While she was on the phone. So I figure I kind of try to go in order. So
from your childhood.
Yes. Yes. From younger to older to see how these things change throughout the years.
Okay.
So the next time I may have drunk too much. When I was in high school, maybe a freshman. I think I was a freshman. And they had this program, this kind of club for young kids in high school. And it was called Head Start. It's not the same government Head Start we know of today, but it was called Head Start. And the mission was to get children to experience things they may not experience. Just new, to open us up to new things, to learn how to experience the world and different things. You know what I'm saying, right, Jill?
Sure.
Yeah.
Books do that for me.
Oh, you got to get out of the book, Jill. You got to get out of the book sometimes. Sometimes you have to experience.
Bite your tongue.
Experience it firsthand.
Well, I've done that too.
Yeah, so we used to do these different things in the community and all of that, and this particular Head Starts was throughout the country. So different high schools. Not the country, the county.
Okay.
Different high schools in the county. So they decided that they would send us on this retreat in upstate New York. I don't remember exactly where it was, but I know it was not far. I have some relatives that have like 120 something acres in upstate New York in Hopewell Junction. And I knew it wasn't far from my cousin's place. But I cannot remember exactly where it was, but it was beautiful up there. Upstate New York is actually really beautiful.
Yes. I've
So,
been to upstate
so they
New
took
York.
us to this retreat where we did horseback riding, and we did, those trust exercises where you
Where
just
you fall
fall back
backwards
and let
and
everybody
people are supposed
catch
to
you.
catch you.
Yes, yes. So, to see whether you have trust issues. So we did that. We also did a exercise where someone else would like lead you through the woods and get you to touch things and all of that.
That didn't sound right. That did not sound right at all.
But it was, groups of us. We had
Okay.
counselors
What
that
kinds of things were you
were
touching?
touch a leaf or, I don't know, just different stuff. Just,
So not like poison ivy or
no,
something.
no, you wouldn't, no. But so this was like for a whole weekend. So this one day they decided we would have this ping pong competition, which I won, by the way.
You're good at ping pong.
First place.
I like to play you in ping pong.
And then they decided they would have this ritual. This is where they went wrong. This is where they definitely went wrong.
Okay.
So it was kind of like a, like communion, but it wasn't religious. And, they
Where
would say,
you drank wine and ate a cracker?
yeah.
It
No
was real-
crackers.
It was a real wine?
Yes, it was real wine. And why would they bring real wine? So
For minors?
Yes, different times. But it was somebody had this great idea, and they had those little Dixie cups, like the ones you use for mouthwash and stuff.
Yes.
So they, filled it halfway, and they said some
I'm
mumbo
still stuck
jumbo.
on they gave wine to minors.
Yeah. So, but it wasn't enough to get any of us drunk. It was just that.
Or was it?
This is where they went wrong. Okay. So I had made some new friends and all of that. So we did all that ritual, and then we were going to take a hike.
I'm sorry. What was the ritual? Just to drink?
I can't really remember. There was a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but I knew I was going to get to drink some wine. So that's what I was anticipating. Okay, yeah. Oh, I get to drink some wine. Woohoo.
Okay.
So, anyway, they did this little ritual, and then we were going to have this hike in the evening. It was still daylight when we started, but we were going to hike like a couple of miles up this mountain.
At night?
Yeah, we started. It was before sunset, but by the time we got to the top, it was at night, and they had this big barn fire up there.
Bonfire?
Barn fire.
Barn or bon?
Barn fire.
They said a barn fire.
I always call it a barn fire.
It's a bonfire.
It's a bonfire. I call it a barn fire because it's always like near a barn. So anyway, but I have to backtrack. So the trek must have been 3 miles or so. And when we get to the top of the mountain, it's like this big field, and they have this big barn fire.
Bon.
Yeah, that's what I said. Anyway, but after we finished this other little ritual, where we played ping pong and all of that, and we all drank our little bit of wine, and they said, the counselors say, okay, follow us. Now we're going to go up the mountain. And
so you drank before you went up the mountain?
Only a little Dixie cup, half of one, right? Right. And we all threw away our cups, and we all start going up. But I was one of the last ones to leave the building. And
at the foot of the mountain.
Yes. And
what'd you do?
My new friends. So I tapped them. I said, hey, look. They're like, what? I'm pointing. They left gallons of wine on the table.
Wait, is this box wine? What kind of wine is this?
Gallons, like gallon jugs of wine.
Gallon jugs of wine?
Yes, it was a lot of us. It must have been like, I don't know, 60, 70 of us.
Oh my goodness.
So they didn't know how much to buy. So there was, gallons of wine. So they left like 2.5 gallons of wine sitting on the table.
Clearly, you didn't get the trust exercise.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did do the
They
trust.
trusted you not to get the wine that they left behind.
That's not what I understood. I thought. So I tell my new friends, I'm like, hey, look. I said, hey, look. They're like, what? I said, look, they left the wine on the table. So we grabbed all the wine. So we had
all the gallons of wine that was left.
Yes. There was about 2.5 gallons of wine. And we're in the rear of everybody else.
And you were carrying this?
Yes. Gallon jugs, right? But the counselors were up front. So they never saw that we had these.
Were you drinking it along the way?
I definitely was. And my new friends were drinking
out of the jugs?
Out of the jugs. But if that wasn't bad enough.
There's more?
Yeah, there is more. And I was a good kid.
It's not sounding like it. I'm sorry. It's not sounding like it.
So then we're like, oh, man, we can't drink all of this wine. It was just too much, So we start tapping people on the shoulder. We start walking faster and tapping the other kids on the shoulder and say, hey, you want some wine? So we're giving kids.
Are bad kids.
We're giving kids wine going up the hill. So I must have fed at least 40, 50 kids more wine.
So you never reached to where the adults were?
Not at that point, no. So by that time, probably half of us are really, really drunk. Okay. And we get to the top, and there is this big.
You do make it.
Yes,
safely.
We make
you
it
don't
to the.
Fall. Nobody falls.
No, nobody falls. We get to the top of the mountain, but half of us are pretty lit. So they decided we would actually sing Kumbaya.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, actually sing.
This sounds like fiction. Are you making this up? Truth.
So, but we were all smashed. So
do they recognize this?
Well, I don't know if they ever figured it out because I know we were all smashed. Oh, and there was still some wine left. When we got to the top.
But you're carrying it. Don't they see you with the jugs?
Well, there was a lot of us around the barn fire. So, but I was still giving people wine while we were around the barn fire because there were rows and rows and rows of kids. So the people that were in the back rows, I was still giving all of them wine. Okay.
Did they not know to put an adult at the end, at the back?
They did not know. So I was pretty drunk and everybody else was pretty drunk. So we were paying no attention to singing Kumbaya. All of us were like, ah, ha, 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 this is crazy. Ah, we're making jokes and we're just having a party. It's like our own party. We're having a great time because we've never been around a bonfire before, right? And then, so all is good with us.
And hopefully you've never been drunk before.
I've never been drunk before. But all of us are having like this really great time. And then all of a sudden, it seemed to me from nowhere, one of the counselors had a meltdown.
Because they finally realized that 3/4 of the group is drunk.
But she's crying and having this meltdown and screaming
because she
at
probably
all us
felt that she failed you all.
Because she said, you all are ungrateful kids. We're trying to do something positive for all of you, and you all are ungrateful. And we were still like, everything got quiet, but those of us in the back rows were still like, because it caught us by surprise. We didn't know where any of that came from.
So did you all get in trouble?
Never did get in trouble. I never did. But the reason I probably never got in trouble is because then after that, counselor said, that's it. It's over. That's it. We're all going back to our cabins. Okay, fine. Cool. No problem. Now, this will show an audience that I've always been a loner. Because on the way down the mountain, I took a detour all by myself.
So again, the adults haven't figured out they need to be in the back too.
They still haven't figured that out.
Oh my goodness.
So I took a detour because I like being out in the country and
so you
stuff.
just wandered off all by yourself at night in the woods.
No, not in the woods. I wasn't in the woods. I was in the pasture. I was hanging with cows and horses and buffalo. So I went and, was hanging with the cows and the buffalo and walking around and the horses and just me, the horses, and the cows. Had a great time.
So when did they know you were missing?
They never did know. I came back at sunup.
So you slept with the cows and the horses?
No, I didn't sleep with the cows. I was having a blast all by myself.
So you never went to sleep?
Never went to sleep.
And you came back at sunup?
Yeah, just as the sun was coming up, I came back. And then all the people that were in the cabin with me, like, where were you? Where were you?
So they knew you were gone.
They knew I was gone.
But the adults didn't.
Yeah, but they didn't say anything. They didn't.
But the adults didn't come and count how many people
were there? No, I think they were really pissed off and didn't care about us anymore.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad you lived to tell the story.
I lived to tell the story. I did.
So this is the case of
a lot of fun, though.
This is not a case of you may have drunk too much.
No,
this is a case of you drank too much.
No, I say I may have drank too much because nothing bad happened.
That's your gauge?
Yes.
That should not be your
That's
gauge.
That's my gauge. Nothing bad happened.
That should not be your gauge.
Nothing bad happened.
Nothing bad has to happen for someone to have drunk too much.
No.
Sometimes people get funnier. Sometimes people get meaner. Like, nothing bad has to happen, but they may have definitely have drunk too much.
If somebody gets meaner, something bad happens.
But if they get funnier,
then nothing bad has happened.
But they have drunk too much. For example, the first time I met your sister, Denise, nothing bad happened.
Nothing bad. So what?
But
the listeners may have heard this story before, but why don't you tell it again?
Well, we definitely have mentioned it
because I want you to be right along with me as we need to trade story for story.
Okay. Well, in this case, you and I had been dating for nearly 2 years, and you decided we were going to go to New York to meet your sister. So I was like, cool, that's great. So when we get to her home, she makes fabulous pina coladas.
Yeah.
So she asked if I wanted one. Sure. I love pina coladas. And hers were made with ice cream, which was even better.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
What I didn't realize was that as I was talking and I would have, my glass in my hand, she was topping me off. So I never realized how much I was actually drinking because she and her friend kept topping me off.
Yeah, I was watching that too.
Well, nobody told me. So I didn't realize how much I had actually drunk until I just let the glass fall. And I was like, did I do that?
You just stared at it.
Happen?
You just stared at it.
I did. Like,
did I do that?
How did that happen?
And you kept looking at it.
And I kept looking at it like, how did it get there?
And then Denise started cleaning it up, and she was saying, it's okay. But you were still standing there like, did I do that?
Yeah, like I was confused about how that happened. And then I also knew that I was very drunk when you and I decided she lived near the nautical mile.
Yes,
and so we
very close to the ocean where all the fishing boats. So we're like, let's
take a walk. And you had to hold me up on that walk because I couldn't walk. I was like, man, she messed me up.
No, but didn't we get a ride?
I don't know.
One of
See,
the.
I
So you
barely,
don't
that's all I
remember?
remember.
Yeah,
Did
we had start walking, and
a
then
ride from strangers?
no, there were people that were at my sister's house, and they were going
Oh,
down there too, and they stopped and said, "Hey, you want to ride?" I was like, "Yeah, I think we need a ride."
because I was
Yeah,
wobbling and
yeah.
weaving.
So that wasn't too bad for
Well,
you,
it
Chill.
turned out not to be bad, but because I didn't realize at the time that you wanted your sister to assess whether I was a good person for you, a good
Ah,
fit for you.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
what a way to make a first impression.
Hey, but we're married now.
We are. So she obviously gave her approval, but and I wasn't a mean drunk, so I guess that was good. I
Hmm.
was just a confused drunk. Like I didn't know how that happened.
Yeah. Oh, well, interesting. Okay, so I said I was going to go
Story
kind
for
of
story.
go in order with this. So when I was a teenager, maybe 17, 17, 18, I know I was already driving. And as the listeners know, I grew up on Long Beach, and I had taken a summer job working at the beach, right?
What a great job.
It was a great job. My tan was great. The only bad part about working at the beach was that uh you'd be working and everybody else was there having a good time. You know, that bothered me sometime. And people were really rude to people that worked at the beach.
Oh.
So, but anyway, I still like the beach. I just realized I have a side story on this beach thing.
Well, you have to tell the actual story because we're
I'm
running
out
out
of
of time.
time. Oh, I got so many stories. I could go on for hours.
We
So
don't have
okay, I won't
hours.
tell the side story. So anyway, the they asked for volunteers to work at the beach at night, to be a night watchman, because we closed the beach at night, and this section of the beach was called West End 2. So we would close the road that came in to the beach. So I set up barricades, and they gave me my own 4-wheel vehicle and stuff like that. And I was stationed right outside the police barracks and the Coast Guard barracks. So I was right there. And I set up barricades, I had flares set up and everything. But again, I love the beach. I
And
love the beach.
you like being alone.
Yeah, and I'm a loner. So, people say, why would you do that? I love it. The other thing people didn't know was, I'd bring my little box lunch and stuff, and I had a little, half-gallon like thermos cooler or something like that.
Okay.
But I filled mine up with vodka and orange juice.
Kind of like your own version of a flask.
Yeah, but big. And sometimes I'd have my friends come out and meet me, and I worked from like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night till the sun came up. Okay, so friends would come by, we'd hang out, and have music playing and stuff like that. And the Coast Guard guys, they was a wild bunch because they're supposed to stop and check with me, before they go in, because they would come and hang out and party at the beach. So it's like they had a good time. So they wouldn't stop; they just blow by me. But the troopers, they would come and talk and hang out with me and stuff like that, and it was cool.
Did you drink in front of them?
Not in
Or
front of
with
them,
them?
but I had already been drinking
Oh,
by the
okay.
time they see me. But this one particular night, I guess I was enjoying myself too much. And the trooper came up, and I always just get out of my 4-wheel vehicle and, walk up to him. We talk, and, he asked me, hey, because I also had a radio, and I'm supposed to call in when somebody, blows by the gate or something if I have a problem. But he said, you have any problem? No. So anyway, I got out the 4-wheel drive vehicle, and I realized I couldn't walk straight.
Did he
I
ask
was
you,
like,
did he ask you to walk the
oh,
line?
shoot, I can't walk straight. I realized I couldn't walk straight the moment I got out of the vehicle. I know I couldn't because I was just sitting there,
Did he say anything?
I think he knew I was drunk.
But he didn't say anything.
He didn't say anything. We just talked. He said, all right, you be careful tonight. And that's another time I was like, oh, I probably drank too much tonight.
Yep.
So I didn't
So
drink.
you were walking like I was walking in my story.
I didn't drink as much. Oh, wow. I used up all the time on just 2 stories.
2 stories.
Wow.
So let's get to our second segment that we call
Give it a rest and a resolution.
Conclusions.
Conclusions.
This is our conclusion and resolutions segment.
My conclusion is life is good. Enjoy it.
Okay. My conclusion is you have more drunk stories than I do. But I do want to encourage people to be responsible.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, be responsible.
Or at least be surrounded by people who will help you.
But as I always say, those were different times. Never would I do anything like that now.
That's good.
And I don't.
Yeah, you don't.
So, yeah.
You don't. No, I don't either. Not on purpose, anyway. Well, let's get to our third segment that we call
I'm trying to help you.
You
Advice?
have anything? You have any advice, Jill?
Be aware of your alcohol limit.
That's it.
Yes, because, I have discovered I truly am a lightweight when it comes to drinking. So since I recognize
that really is good advice. And I'm going to repeat that advice. Yes, be very aware of how much you're drinking and who you're with, because they may slip you a Mickey.
That's true. There was there was one time that you really you didn't even drink that much.
Yeah, they call it.
Somebody put something in your drink.
They well, nowadays they call it a roofie, but in my day they called it a Mickey. So yes, twice in my life somebody slipped me a Mickey.
Yes, and I witnessed it one
time. And thank goodness the second time you were with me.
Yes.
But the first time you were not with me. I was in Washington, D.C. on my birthday, and it almost ended up really, really bad for me.
Oh. Well, that sounds like a story, too. Can you tell it quickly?
I decided I was going to go out for my birthday. And
this is before we met.
It's way before we met. And because it was my birthday and I was in DC and I was at a hotel and I had a car delivered to me, a rental car, and I went out and I hit the town. And I met someone and they they slipped a Mickey on me. Now, they usually do that so they can rob you or something, right?
Or assault you.
Yes. But, I have a high tolerance to alcohol, and I guess I have high tolerance to Mickey. So I did make it back to my hotel by myself.
Oh, that's good.
By myself.
That's good.
But then when I woke up, I was 5 hours late for an appointment that I was supposed to be at, and my wallet was gone.
Oh, man.
But I found it. Somehow I hid it under the bed.
Oh, you hid it from yourself?
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Okay. Well, let's get to our last segment that we call.
So, what do you think? What do you think?
Because I'm right.
Because I'm right.
So we want to hear from you, listeners. What kind of stories do you have?
Yes, because I know I'm the only one. I'm not the only one that may have drunk too much. I know I'm not the only one. So we would love to hear your stories.
Yes, that number is 404-594-2247.
You took my spot. 404-594-2247.
Gotta go. So you've been listening to I'm Right.
I'm Right.
I'm Jill Cox Cordova.
I'm Anthony Cordova.
Shout out to Gifford Ivan Cordova III for the music, Nick Zinke for the art, and to you two listeners. We hope 2022 is an excellent year for you.
Yes, we really hope you enjoy the new year.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We love you all.